it's Allie, and today I wanted to share with you guys something that I have been doing this past week and a little bit of last week, which are some daily pages. And you may have heard of daily pages in the past. I have a friend, Kristen Tweedale, who has been doing daily pages with her Awesome Ladies project for a long time. And it's something that I've looked at doing over and over again. I've bought the little notebooks. I've had the stuff ready, and for some reason in this season of my life right now, this seems like a really fun way to express myself, to tell some short stories, and to have a daily practice, right? Daily weekday practice for me at least, where I come into my office and this is something I can do. I can use my supplies, I can play around, I can let things out of my head. It's kind of like Julia Cameron's morning pages where you are writing, right? Like stream of conscious writing, but in this case, you're doing something creative, or you are just adhering down some of that beautiful pattern paper that you love, or playing with those stamps that you love. It's using the stuff in your stash. So I put together a compilation of I think the 6 that I've done so far, and I just wanted to share them with you guys here on YouTube. I'm sharing them on Instagram each day during the week, and so obviously the proportions of the video will be the vertical orientation. So anyway, without further ado, let me show you what I've been playing around with lately. I'm in a season right now where I've got a lot of things on my plate, and for some reason, sometimes when I'm in that space, all I want to do is give myself an opportunity to play with something else. Sometimes it's when I'm switching between tasks. Sometimes it's just when I'm in the middle of something and I'm stuck for one reason or another. And I was thinking about that today as I was working on some projects and deliverables. And then I was thinking about Kristen Tweedale and her daily pages. And I was like, I could do that. I want to do that. That's a great way for me to break up pieces of my workday. So I grabbed one of the little field notes journals that I had already had here because this is a project that I was like thinking I wanted to do in the past. I took the stamps. I started with that anyway. I stamped out using our new Alphas, our awesome #2 set that come on summer. And then I was looking at my pattern paper and pulled this one. I think this is from the labels kit, and I'm just going to cut it out as a background. At this point, I'm thinking that I'm going to adhere the pattern paper down into the notebook, and then I'm going to add that title on there. The idea with daily pages is that you're just doing a little bit of something, right? A little bit of creativity, potentially a little bit of journaling, a way to exercise your creative muscles in a small space. That's the way I think about what Kristen has shared and put together. And so what I decided to do here, as you can see, I'm trimming up those pages so that I wouldn't have a folded pattern paper, so that it's not too thick. I'm using rolling adhesive from scrapbook.com, and then I'm going to add those 2 pattern paper background pieces in there. I'm kind of thinking that I would like to do this each day during the week. That's kind of my mental space around it. It's just like an easy little project. Also a way to grab some of the things that are on my desk from other projects, or things that I can use where it doesn't have to be a full scrapbook page, whatever, regardless of the size, right? Just a little space to play, to experiment, those kinds of things. So I grab my corner rounder. I'm going to round the corners. This is I think it's a 1-inch corner rounder. It's part of a pack with a 1/2-inch one. The 1/2-inch one is the one that I actually normally use, and this one is a full inch, so it has a bigger rounding, which I think matches better to the field notes corner rounding space there. Then I'm going to grab my ruler and I'm going to trim a little bit of the excess off. This is just like how when I'm working in a traveler's notebook, I'm cutting down the sizes to get it to the right space. I love this idea of daily pages, though, and I've been such a fan of Kristen for such a long time, of how she has done a variety of different things, and I love that it's contained and constrained to this smaller space. So as I was looking on my desk, I saw these circles, some ing word circles that I think I'd used a couple others on a different project. I believe they were on a 4x6 card originally, and the colors were going a little bit here with what I had already stamped on the Come On Summer. But as you're going to see, what I decided to do is just take the Come On Summer part off, and I'm just going to use the circle circles. Just there's 4 of them. It's, I believe, reading, listening, what's the other ones there? Eating, and maybe becoming. Let's see, what's the other one? I gotta look closer at it there. See, I'll look on my table as I'm recording this. Belonging. Yeah, belonging, which I thought was a really sweet word too. I love with this kind of play, you can just focus on really simple things, right? So I'm going to end up, I'm taking out the stamped part. Maybe I'll use that in something else. Maybe I won't. But I love the idea of just having a graphic, simple representation. So I'm going to take a couple different pens and I'm going to journal directly onto those circles. The other thing that I decided that I wanted to do was date stamp. Again, thinking that I might try to do, one little page during the weekdays here. So I'm date stamping the date and the date tomorrow or today, depending on when I'm recording this. And I'm going to fold that tab over and then I'm going to put along the edge. And I'm thinking that it would be really fun to have a bunch of those tab stickers along the edge there that represent each of the days when this little project might come together. I'm going to go ahead at this point and just use rolling adhesive on top of it. And then depending on what I decide to do the next day on the daily page, and it might be 2 pages, it might be 1 page, I can cover up the part of that's on the back there and or use a staple. So I'm using a couple different pens. I'm using a micron pen, a really thin tip pen. That's a 005, and I'm pairing that with a brush pen. It's a touch brush pen, and that just gives a little bit of contrast between the thick and the thin on there. And I'm just adding in a little bit of journaling, right? Adding a little bit of what I am eating right now, which seems to be, I wrote on here, mixed nuts and hummus and gluten-free pretzels, Cosmic Crisp apples, which we continue to love here. So just a couple little basic things, right, about what's happening in my everyday life. And I love how this is turning out. And it just felt like it was just the right break for me in between other projects that I was working on, some of which included a lot of writing. And so to be able to have a break in between that, or, to be able to step away from that a little bit, do something different with my brain, that felt really, really good. All right, next up, I ended up taking these over to my desk to write them down. So you can see there's the one I'm reading. I'm reading Hello Beautiful right now. I'm about halfway through that. It's really good. It was kind of slow start for me, but now that I'm into it, I definitely am into it and hope to finish that actually this weekend. Then listening, I said I'm listening to Anna talk about her day in the car. I just had a really good week with her this past week. Lots of sharing, lots of listening, lots of coming together for that kind of thing. And that just felt so good this week. And then on the last little circle there, which is belonging, I said belonging to myself, to nature, and to my creative spirit. And I love that little bit of representation of myself in there. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at doing for my own little daily pages. I just want a little something. Maybe sometimes it'll be art journaling. Other times it'll be, different little pieces that I have here in my stash. Maybe I'll stick a 3x4 card in here. I love how Kristen has done that in her books. You should definitely check out her Instagram, which is RU Kristen, and I'll link her in my description below to see the kinds of things that she's done over the years in her own daily pages. So super thankful to you, Kristen. Thanks for sharing this. It's an idea that I've wanted to play with for a long time. And yesterday finally felt like the time for me to dive in. All right, guys, thanks for watching.